Tonight on CTV News at 6. A Sudbury doctor is named to the Order of Canada.
I'm no longer the only First Nations forensic pathologist. That just, it just makes me really happy because there are more coming after me.
Dr. Kona Williams shares her professional accomplishments leading up to this honor. Plus, will the new federal bail reforms be enough?
Much of this is to address repeat violent offenders, and it's the repeat or prolific offenders that we deal with.
Why Timmins police say at the local level they're not optimistic. Plus, helping patients better understand their plan of care.
I'm printing out pages of information for them and hoping that they go home and they get that information correctly.
A new app created here in the North looks to simplify doctors' or nurses' orders.
CTV News at 6 with Marina Moore and Tony Rima with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A Northern Ontario doctor is among a list of famous Canadians that have been honored at the highest level in the country.
It's a privilege for me to present these honors for the very first time for me as Governor General.
Recently appointed Governor General Louise Arbour named 56 new recipients to the Order of Canada today, the country's highest civilian honor. Among them are Christine Sinclair, Canada's all-time leading scorer and an Olympic gold medalist, and legendary actor Michael J. Fox, best known for Back to the Future and Family Ties, as well as his advocacy for Parkinson's awareness.
We're here. The National Advisory Committee, the Circle of Survivors.
Kona Williams, who lives in the greater Sudbury community of Wanapitei, is also among the recipients this year. Williams is the first Indigenous forensic pathologist in Canada and has worked on the National Advisory Committee on Missing Children and Unmarked Burials. Kona says it's teaching that she's especially proud of.
Teaching the next generation of, medical students. I teach a course at Laurentian of forensic science. So, making sure that the next generation has an idea of what I do, sees it as an option, and, will carry that work forward. I'm no longer the only First Nations forensic pathologist. That just, it just makes me really happy because there are more coming after me.
Federal funding for the National Advisory Committee ended over a year ago, which Williams says forced the expert panel to cease operations. However, the members are still in contact with each other, and Williams says searches and documentation efforts continue.
We are still available to provide information to, families and nations and communities who are searching. I know that my colleagues kind of on the front end of it who are doing the searches themselves are still very busy. And myself and my colleagues who are more, examining the dead or, trying to find the truth about how somebody died, we are preparing ourselves for the inevitable of what's coming. And we're making sure that we're going to be ready for that.
Along with teaching at Laurentian, Williams also teaches at Nauseam University and works at Health Sciences North in Sudbury. The ceremony for the new appointees to the order will be held at a later date. The federal government says new bail reforms under Bill C-14 have now received royal assent and will come into effect July 15th. But as CTV's Lydia Chubak reports, the Timmins police chief says he does not expect to see a significant change locally.
Timmins police say they continue to deal with breaches of bail conditions and missed court appearances, a pattern federal officials say Bill C-14 is designed to address across Canada. The new Bail and Sentencing Reform Act aims to strengthen the criminal code for violent and repeat offenders. One aspect expands reverse onus, meaning accused people must demonstrate why they should be released on bail rather than the Crown having to justify detention.
Much of what we've seen will hold people accountable. Certainly specifically when it comes to sureties, when it comes to things like reverse onus requirements on offenders who continue to offend when they've been released.
Despite the new law, Lucky says the day-to-day reality for Timmins police is expected to remain largely the same.
Much of this is to address repeat violent offenders, and it's the repeat or prolific offenders that we deal with that the public are really frustrated with. Whether it's our businesses, our neighborhoods, those things, I'm not convinced we're going to see a significant change, but I am hopeful.
Still, Leckie says the new bail reforms are among the most significant he has seen in recent years. He says their impact will be measured over time through national data and local court outcomes. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
A North Bay man has been charged in connection to a disturbance at the local hospital. It happened at the North Bay Regional Health Center on June 16th. Police say a man was said to be trying to get into a secure area and threatened to set a fire in the facility. Police say the 31-year-old man was in possession of a fire-starting item, and he's been charged with mischief, assault, and other fire-related charges. Time now for our first check on weather, and it's a big one as school's out for the summer. Tony, so will the kids be kicking things off with some fun in the sun?
Thanks very much, Marina. Yes, depending upon where you live, the weekend doesn't look too bad. Temperatures are going up, and of course there's a chance of a shower or two just to cool you off from all that heat. On our radar map at this hour, you can see pockets of activity, so off and on shower activity. Then this evening we start to get some clearing, which is always nice, and then as we head into Saturday, kind of clouds, maybe a shower or two, and then after that things are going to become a little bit more unsettled, and it's going to be a heat wave next week. I'll tell you more a little later in our show. Marina.
All right, thanks for that, Tony. Well, today in Espanola, there was a signing ceremony in a first-of-its-kind partnership to advance long-term care. The Memorandum of Understanding brings together the Whitefish River First Nation, Sagamok Anishinaabe, the town of Espanola, and the local hospital to build a new long-term care facility.
We reside in an area only 29 kilometers from Espanola, and many of our community members have either gone to school here, have shopped here, so it actually creates a sense of comfort knowing that we can create a project like this long-term care home for not only our community, but for the town of Espanola and Sagamok and Anishinaabe.
Partnership came to fruition by the town of Espanola offering some land for a project for a long-term care expansion, knowing that we have a wait list of 130 people with only 32 beds to be able to occupy that wait list.
The town of Espanola is providing 19 acres of land across from the hospital for the new facility as part of the partnership. Still to come here on CTV News at 6, the importance of safety on the job, why students are being reminded to be aware during summer work, and why the province is looking at making some changes to gambling ads.
You see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Now that summer vacation is officially here, a lot of young people will be starting seasonal jobs or entering the workforce for the first time. That's why the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board is reminding of the importance of safe work. CTV's Eric Tashner tells us more.
So what's your story?
My guy lost control of the saw.
Been there, done that.
This is just one of a handful of comical ads the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board created to remind youth about safety practices while on the job.
You're certainly excited about the paycheck, but it's also good to make sure that you know what is safe work.
The WSIB's Practice Safe Work digital campaign is aimed at students who are starting their summer jobs or are entering the workforce for the first time.
Sometimes you can feel invincible, or you're starting a new job and you don't think that this is going to happen to you.
The WSIB stresses if student employees get hurt or are sick because of work, it's there to provide wage replacement, pay medical bills, and help them get safely back to work when the time's right.
The reality is that just last year, 30,000 young people were hurt on the job.
The City of North Bay is a major employer for students during the summer. It hires about 50 young workers for the season. City officials say they make it a priority to ensure all students are safe when on the job.
We do an orientation session, which includes a comprehensive health and safety education component. So health and safety advisor would run them through the same training that we put our other full-time employees through.
The WSIB says jobs with the highest number of injury claims among young people include retail salespeople, material handlers, food counter attendants, kitchen helpers, nurse aides, patient service associates, and construction trade helpers and laborers.
There are 3 basic rights that everybody has in a workplace, including a student. One is the right to know what the hazards are of your jobs. You have the right to participate in keeping your workplace safe, and you have the right to refuse unsafe work.
Lazarus says while strains and sprains lead the nature of injury among young workers, other common injuries include cuts, punctures, bruises, and concussions. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
Health Sciences North is working to improve retention of hospital staff, patient experience, and more. The hospital partnered with Excellence Canada to work on their retention rates, earning them a Canada Award for Excellence. After their 3-year collaboration, HSN says it has cut its turnover rate almost in half, going from 15% down to 8%. Another priority at HSN was employee wellness, which inspired adding 4 wellness rooms within the hospital.
We know that when we work in a high-paced, high-acuity hospital, you need to disconnect in order to recharge very quickly. You don't have the luxury of stepping away too far or too long. And so these spaces really create that place to re-energize and connect with other people across the hospital.
We feel confident that the work that we've done with Excellence Canada and their Healthy Workplace Framework has been a strong contributor to helping us be able to reduce our turnover rate and improve retention for our staff. Is it the only thing that may have contributed to stabilization of our workforce? I think that might not be totally accurate, but improving turnover rate and improving retention is not a silver bullet approach.
Officials with Excellence Canada say the transformation at HSN so far has been a great learning experience for other health organizations. GOVA Plus riders using GOVA Zone taxi-style services in Sudbury will notice some changes starting July 1st. The city is transitioning to branded minivans, which will be operated by uniformed drivers to make the vehicles more recognizable and improve consistency for riders. A new app is also launching to book, confirm, or cancel rides. If you've watched any sports on TV or scrolled your phone lately, you've probably been inundated with ads for online gambling sites. Now the provincial minister tasked with overseeing gambling is considering new restrictions on how those sites can market to people looking to test their luck. More from CTV's Siobhan Morris.
The potential for greatness.
They've become inescapable. Scrolling on your phone or settling in front of the TV.
Every time you open up with sports, it hits you in the face.
There's way too many of them on TV right now.
Every couple ads, every second ad, it's a gambling.
It's something Ontario's minister responsible for gaming has noticed too. With more and more gambling happening online, the way we talk about it has changed.
If we're not paying attention to the data and how that language is being spoken, the volume it's being spoken in, and the frequency in which it's reaching problem gamblers, then we could have a problem on our hands.
Cho is considering new restrictions on ads for online gaming. He's consulting with experts.
We're worried about whether we are basically just creating a generation of gambling addicts.
Ads spiked in 2022, right after Ontario opened the door to private betting. Then came skyrocketing calls to the province's mental health and addictions helpline. Among boys and men 15 to 24, researchers noted a 317% increase. For men aged 25 to 44, that jump was 108%. Experts say teenagers are most susceptible to gambling addiction. Sports betting now packing dozens of opportunities into a single game isn't helping.
It makes the gambling more like a slot machine.
An instant mini thrill, no trip to the casino required.
Trying to practice here, Wayne.
A few years ago, the province banned celebrities and athletes who'd appeal to youth from gambling ads, unless they're talking about safer practices. Ontarians who ban themselves from brick and mortar casinos can also block their access to online gaming through a tool called BetGuard. Critics say it's not enough.
They prey on young people. They prey on, frankly, kids. They prey on people who are having a tough time.
Ontario Liberals tried and failed to shut down ads for online gaming entirely.
we're in a public health crisis. The first thing we can do is to actually reduce the advertising.
Cho is looking at the United Kingdom. No gambling ads from 5 minutes before a sports match until 5 minutes after the last whistle. Nigel Turner is a fan. He'd like more honesty from ads, too.
This is about having fun with your money, not about making money. And I feel there's too much of a focus on how much you're going to win.
Cho wants some time to get this right, but promises an update soon.
I've gone through this with family in terms of problem gambling online, and I know that days matter on this.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
And back we go to Tony now for a check on the current conditions this Friday evening. Tony, how are things looking out there?
Marina, it's a warm one out there. Temperatures are going up, and they're going to get even warmer come the weekend and into tomorrow. Let's take a look at our current temperatures at this hour. It's 26 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud in through Timmins. Cochrane's also 26, a little cooler in through Moosonee. Cap 27 at this point. 25, plenty of sunshine for Chapleau. Much cooler in through Wawa. 17 degrees. Sault Ste. Marie, mix of sun and cloud, 21. Perry Sound, 20 degrees, mainly sunny skies. As we head north in through North Bay, a mix of sun and cloud, 22 degrees, 25 for Timiskaming Shores. A lot of sunshine for Kirkland Lake. In Greater Sudbury, well, sun and cloud, 25 degrees, a little cooler in through Espanola, but there's plenty of sunshine also in Elliott Lake and Gore Bay. So tomorrow, is it going to be a good day to walk your dog? Well, this is oatmeal, and this picture is courtesy of Jeff Warner of 80 Creek Gardens in Englehart, and he says, you know what? It's going to be a pretty good day. Take a look at those temperatures. Great day to walk your dog or even be outside, but you might want to bring that umbrella just in case. Marina, full weather details coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Tony. Next on CTV News at 6, calling all Canadian builders. A national competition is launched to get the historic Prime Minister's house back to its glory. And the death toll continues to rise in the aftermath of 2 devastating quakes in Venezuela. Over 900 people are dead and more than 3,000 injured after a pair of devastating earthquakes in Venezuela yesterday. Rescue teams and relief are pouring into the country from more than 20 nations. The search continues for an estimated 50,000 missing people in the aftermath of those powerful quakes that struck just west of Caracas on Wednesday.
The earthquake lasted what felt like a really long time. It felt like about 30 seconds. The local people there were screaming for God to save us.
The U.S. Geological Survey predicts that the number of people killed in the 7.2 and 7.5 magnitude earthquakes could rise to more than 10,000. The United States has attacked Iran in response to a drone attack Iran launched Thursday in the Strait of Hormuz. The UN International Maritime Organization paused its operation escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz after a vessel reported an attack. Taiwan's Evergreen Marine says its ship was hit close to Oman by an unknown object. President Donald Trump took to social media to say Iran had violated the ceasefire by launching at least 4 one-way attack drones, adding 3 had been shot down by the U.S. military, while the 4th hit the upper deck of the Taiwanese vessel, causing some damage. The American military began targeting missile, drone, and radar locations in Iran, according to U.S. Central Command, late this afternoon. A U.S. official with knowledge of the situation told the Associated Press the attacks are ongoing at this hour. You can visit ctvnews.ca for the latest on the conflict. Canadian officials are set to meet with their American and Mexican counterparts next week for the first trilateral meeting to review CUSMA. Prime Minister Mark Carney says he wants a deal that's good for Canadian industries currently being impacted by U.S. tariffs.
We are fighting for those industries, but the other core message, apart from the direct support that we're giving to the industry, helping them to reposition for any eventuality, is that what we're not going to do is to accept a deal that damages those industries.
July 1st is the deadline for all three parties to decide whether to renew the agreement for another 16 years, withdraw from it altogether, or to start an annual rolling review process that could take years. The United States and Mexico have already started bilateral negotiations. Canada and the United States have not. Prime Minister Mark Carney is launching a national design and build competition to modernize 24 Sussex Drive, nearly 11 years after the last Prime Minister called it home. Carney says the goal is to build an accessible and sustainable official residence. CTV's Abigail Beeman tells us more.
This home is just 1 year younger than Canada. The Prime Minister describes it now as barely held together.
A rare look inside the official residence of the Prime Minister that ended up full of dead rodents, asbestos and mold.
We will not let it crumble. We will set it right.
The Prime Minister announced a competition for Canadian firms to present design and construction plans, with famous Canadian architect Moshe Safdie chairing a jury to assess them.
It's an extraordinary site with extraordinary potential. I think something wonderful can be developed here.
The government believes the cost will be under $50 million and will fundraise most or all of that, promising rules to avoid conflicts.
Individuals and philanthropic organizations, no corporate donations. The list of donors will be public. There will be a limit.
Former occupants Jean Chrétien and Stephen Harper will offer advice. In a statement, Harper told CTV News he's pleased the decision was taken to preserve the property.
Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, who, when they were renegotiating the Constitution to patriate it in 1982, he was in Sussex Drive when Jean Chrétien was making the phone calls back to him to say, is this the deal we want?
Author JDM Stewart says the building is critical to Canadian history.
It is a place where all of our prime ministers since 1951 have made a lot of the decisions and done a lot of the work and greeted heads of government and heads of state from around the world.
When I see the homelessness on our streets and I see the young people who are desperate to start families but can't get a house to do it, I just think the last thing on our minds should be 24 Sussex Drive.
The winning design will be announced on Canada Day next year, 2027. No word on how soon a future Prime Minister could move in. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
There's more news ahead, but first, here's your full weather forecast with Tony Rima, which happens to be the first week of summer vacation for families across the north. So what are they in for, Tony?
Marina, they're in for a lot of heat, and that's going to be coming next weekend. But let's take a look right now on our forecast radar. We see pockets of activity, light shower activity, but that's going to change ever so slightly. And here we go. It's moving a little slowly, but then we start to get some clearing skies, which is always nice. Some showers in through Sault Ste. Marie tomorrow evening, along with Chapleau, and then we're starting to see sun-cloud mix, and the weather's not going to be all that bad. Right now, we have high pressure that is building into our broadcast region. We have a couple troughs that are moving out along with a low pressure system that gave us the rain over the past few days. But this high is going to move in an easterly direction ever so slowly. As a result, you can expect increased temperatures and also plenty of sunshine, but there's also going to be some cloud cover and a chance of a shower or two. Overnight, this is what you can expect. In through Sudbury, 13 degrees and a chance of showers. Sault Ste. Marie, a little cooler. Also rain, plenty of rain overnight and a risk of thunderstorm or two, depending upon where you live. As we move on over now to Moosonee, this is what you can expect. Coming in at clear skies and 6 degrees. Cap, Hearst, Wawa, Gore Bay, double-digit lows and a chance of shower activity. Okay, let's take a look now at your 7-day weather forecast. Moving with Sudbury Nickel Belt, it's going to be, well, a beautiful day for the most part. Some showers, 25 degrees, gets even better on Sunday, and then that warming trend Tuesday. 60% chance of rain. Wednesday, Canada Day, 31, also 31 Thursday, and Friday, it's going to be hot too, 30 degrees Celsius. For Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, well, clouds along with showers, a little bit of sunshine, 26 degrees, 3 degrees above normal. And then on Tuesday, we start to see that rise in temperature. Canada Day looks beautiful at this point, 29 degrees if you take out the rain, of course. Thursday, it's going to be, a beautiful day, lots of sunshine. And Friday, back to the clouds and shower activity. For Timmins, Cochrane, and Kapuskasing, sun, cloud, and a chance of rain. Temperatures sticking at 28, and then on Canada Day, 31 degrees, mix of sun and cloud, and a chance of rain. For Timiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake, well, there's a risk of thunderstorms tomorrow. Sunday looks beautiful. Then as we start next week, temperatures start to go up. Wednesday, 31 degrees on Canada Day. Thursday, basking in the sun, coming in at 30. And finally, your 7-day weather forecast for North Bay, West Nipissing. Tomorrow, sun, cloud, and a chance of rain, 26 degrees when it should be 24 as a daytime high normally for this time of year. On Sunday, 27. Then on Tuesday, that's when we start to see the mercury and the thermometer go up. For Wednesday, 31 degrees. Canada Day, Thursday, well, beautiful sunshine, not too many clouds. And on Friday, a mix of sun and cloud and 28 degrees. And here's our picture of the day, courtesy of Monica Wiley. And she said this wild turkey made itself at home for 3 days at camp in French River. Thanks very much, Monica. By the way, we'd like to see your weather pictures. You can send them to us by emailing us, weather.pictures@bellmedia.ca. There's plenty of news still ahead. You're watching CTV.
Sunday is PTSD Awareness Day, and while much progress has been made in the treatment of PTSD for Canada's first responders, a recent symposium examined areas where more must be done. CTV's Pauline Chan reports.
When you're a police officer, you're the one that's called for help. You're not the one that needs help.
Teresa is a 22-year police veteran from Manitoba.
I looked at the uniform and I wanted to be part of something important.
She loves her job, but in her desire to excel in caring for others, her own health deteriorated.
You forget your family, you forget your kids. In fact, it's like you almost want to avoid it.
A couple of years ago, she left work and sought help, but it wasn't easy.
I hate it here, I don't want to be here. So that was the first thing I noticed, right? So, but then as I got here and I met other people that have basically fought the same battle as me, what I like to think of it is we're all on the same boat fighting different pirates.
A recent symposium in Kelowna, hosted by Diversified Rehab, looked at the latest in PTSD treatments for first responders.
Aside from mental health stigma, aside from not reaching out, we are still operating in silos. And this symposium is a classic example how those silos could be taken apart in literally minutes.
One of the feedback pieces that they received was that leaders need training. How do you lead others? How do we take care of our people around us and build those relationships where trust is the foundation?
In September, we're going to be launching first workshop for leaders to come join us so they can gain the right skills.
RCMP Sergeant Rob Ferrer is the new leader of the National Police Federation and says the need is urgent.
The suicide rates have not diminished, and that is where really, like, that's the one, to me, the biggest and most glaring red flag that we need to change.
Teresa says she came into the treatment program with a lot of anger, but its special focus on the needs of first responders helped.
We were able to relate immediately with the sensations, with the emotions, with the loneliness, with the anger. That was like a big one.
When you talk about mental health, different individuals will react positively to different type of support, and that's why we have this array of services that are available to them.
Teresa's main message is for others to know they're not alone. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
A Sudbury-based nurse practitioner has created an AI-powered app that records medical appointments and generates plain language summaries so patients can understand and remember what their doctor told them. We get more from CTV's Lindsay Alick.
Nicole Welsh has been a nurse practitioner since 2009 and says she created Waluma, the AI-powered app, because she saw how many patients were struggling.
I've been writing down, okay, this is what high blood pressure is. I want you to go to mayoclinic.com or, Diabetes Canada. And so writing down on little post-its what I would like patients to go home and then find, or I'm printing out pages of information for them, um, and hoping that they go home and they get that information correctly.
She says often patients would leave appointments confused, overwhelmed, or unable to explain their diagnosis to a family member. Now she says all they have to do is press record.
And then in the app, there's a button to analyze the visit. So it creates an AI generated summary of the visit. So there's a section for when the next follow-up is, what they talked about with their provider, what medications have changed or stayed the same. And then when you go to the bottom of that page on the app, there's another section that says link to resources. And so if they click on that, then it'll take them straight to the websites that I would want them to go to.
The adoption of AI in healthcare, I mean, it's pretty stunning, the scope, the speed, and the promise that comes from it.
Dr. Alex Anawadi is an emergency room physician and professor with Nossum University. And while he can't comment on the app itself, he says the potential with AI is there, but he has concerns.
It's really worth being excited about. Like, imagine a patient having access to all of their health data through a single AI platform, right? Imagine a provider in a remote community like in Northern Ontario with AI supported decision tools that can extend, specialist reach. So the upside is really enormous. But the one thing that keeps me worried about this technology is this understanding of what a digital divide is.
He says the way the technology is developed and implemented sometimes leaves certain populations out of the equation. What he would like to see is socially accountable AI that reflects the best interests of the population. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Sudbury.
And by the way, the app is available in both French and English and also prioritizes Canadian resources. Another large-scale housing project has been approved in Sault Ste. Marie. It's being undertaken by the charitable housing developer Raising the Roof, offering a significant number of affordable units. CTV's Corey Nordstrom reports it's also transforming an area once hit by tragedy.
It's been nearly 7.5 years since a fire tore through the former Studio 10 nightclub and its attached housing units, taking the life of one man. In the time since, the plot has been vacant, purchased by the city for $350,000 in 2020. It's now being sold to the Raising the Roof charity, where they will erect a 5-story building with a mix of 1- and 2-bedroom rentals.
They are not just affordable to the level that the city of Sault Ste. Marie requires them, they are more affordable than what we require. And not only that, we require as a base level affordability commitments for 20 years. They have given us an affordability commitment of 40 years.
Shoemaker notes that the area has changed since the times of Studio 10, with the nearby Canal District serving as a major cultural and tourism draw.
It has really developed into a premier area of attraction for our community, and so bringing people to live in the areas where they also enjoy going out and having a bite to eat or catching a play or going to the conservatory for an event is something that every community wants to see.
The Hudson Street development is just the latest of many housing projects in the Soo. Shoemaker boasts that since this term of council began, the city has approved almost 600 new units through rezoning.
We have exceeded our provincially assigned housing targets in 2023 and 2024, and we will find out about our 2025 targets and results in the coming weeks. And so we have really been doing very well on the housing front.
It's unknown at this time when work will begin on the project. Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
And still ahead here on CTV News at 6, the Sioux's International Bridge Walk takes place this weekend, bringing together both sides of the border. We find out about this important connection and the bridge closure coming up. The The Sault Ste. Marie International Bridge will be closed to vehicle traffic for a couple of hours Saturday morning during the 36th Annual International Bridge Walk. Joining us now to talk about the walk and what it's all about is Dawn Ferguson, Director of Operations and Policy with the Sault Ste. Marie Chamber of Commerce. Dawn, thank you for taking the time.
Thanks, Marina. Happy to chat with you.
Let's start off by talking about the Bridge Walk and why it all started 36 years ago.
Well, you know what? If any of your viewers have ever been to Sault Ste. Marie, they're going to know just from being here in the community just how geographically close we are to our sister city, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. The Bridge Walk started as a means to just kind of showcase that international friendship between the two communities.
So a great opportunity to bridge the two communities, the two Saults. How important is that today, as we know there is, some tension and animosity in some cases?
Well, I'm not going to kid you. Politically, things are a little weird right now. But that's not what this event is about. This event is really about recognizing the closeness of our communities and the friendships that exist between Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan and Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, the close partnerships that we have, and just how close we've been, for hundreds of years, and the many friendships that have sprung up between the two communities and how closely we can work together.
That's what it's all about. So what should people know if they want to take part? Because this is an international crossing, so there are some necessary documents.
Absolutely. So anybody who wants to take part will have to have Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative compliant identification. So they have to come tomorrow making sure that they have a valid passport, a Nexus card, an enhanced driver's license, and anybody under the age of 15 will have to be accompanied by an adult and have to have the birth certificate with them at the minimum.
And we know that the bridge will be closed to traffic from 8:45 a.m. until about 10:45 a.m. this Saturday. So what is your message to drivers?
Plan ahead. So the bridge won't be closed for a long period of time, but if you are planning to cross during that period of time, maybe get a little earlier start in the morning, or be prepared to maybe leave a little bit later.
All right, it's been great chatting with you, Dawn. Thank you for this.
Thank you so much. And if I can just add, if anybody has any questions, please go to the Chamber of Commerce website at ssmcoc.com just for a complete list of everything that you should bring with you, should not bring with you, times and busing information.
All right, good to know. Dawn Ferguson, Director of Operations and Policy with the Sault Ste. Marie Chamber of Commerce. And to learn more about this 36th International Bridge Walk, you can visit the International Bridge Administration website at siouxbridge.com. They also have a link posted there to the group's Facebook page. Well, canines in Greater Sudbury have a new reason to wag their tails today.
3, 2, 1, 3, cut.
Dog park users celebrated the completion of enhancements to the South End site near the Countryside Sports Complex. The upgrades were paid for through fundraising efforts by the York Canine Club and the City of Greater Sudbury's Health Community Initiatives. Additions include an accessible pathway, benches, new trees, lighting, and some play equipment for the furry friends.
For the dogs to do here now, and a place for them to sit when they need to get some rest. So it allows them to, really socialize a bit more, and then use all of the space in both the small dog park and the large dog park.
Citizens can come together, have their dogs interact with other dogs, and as well as have neighbors meeting neighbors. It's as much for the adults and the families as it is for the dogs to build that community connection and in a safe environment where dogs can play in an off-leash area.
And there are 3 off-leash dog parks across the city of Greater Sudbury, with plans for a 4th to be created in the valley in the near future. Well, excitement is building for the next big red and white FIFA game this weekend. Canada's men don't need any extra motivation going into the biggest match in the program's history, a World Cup knockout round. But a couple of the team's key players describe the team's pride and what pushes them forward.
The goal was to make it out of the group, and we've never done that before. So I think we all are super proud about that, and now it's about taking each game one at a time and going out there and seeing what we can do in this tournament. I think we can do special things, and it all starts with this next match.
For us, it's always just been us.
that's all that mattered. Like the guys in the locker room and going to play with those guys, and you know the results, they go our way, sometimes they don't, but at the end of the day, I think it's just the love that we have being around each other and playing with each other. I think that's really what our motivation is.
Team Canada set to play South Africa in their first elimination game in Los Angeles Sunday. You can catch all the action right here on CTV as well as TSN and Crave starting at 3 p.m. Soccer might be all the rage right now, but hockey is still on sports fans' minds as the NHL draft is set to take place tonight.
I think anytime you make a big decision, the more time you can spend on it, the more angles and lenses you can consider, all the different data points and perspectives. I think you want to almost make it a bit painful to make sure that you're getting it right, and I think that's what we did.
The Toronto Maple Leafs have the top pick, and it's widely expected that top prospect Gavin McKenna will be the one they choose. The Yukon native is considered by many to be the best 18-year-old hockey player in the world. He first gained attention at the 2023 Canada Winter Games when he set a scoring record with 29 points in 6 games. If McKenna is picked first, it would be just the second time an Indigenous player from Canada was drafted first overall. New music, a new documentary, and the same old donkey are making entertainment headlines tonight. Here's Douglas Hyde with the Hollywood Report.
You really can't help yourself, can you?
Hell to the no, I can't.
Donkey returns to the big screen next year in Shrek 5, and it looks like we'll be seeing even more of him after that. A solo donkey origin story's in the works and set to hit the big screen in 2028. Eddie Murphy will be back, of course, to lend his voice to the Shrek sidekick.
Everyone had this same experience, except I was the one that could stand on the soapbox and articulate what we were going through.
Jay-Z reunites with collaborator and legendary music producer Rick Rubin for a candid conversation in Jay-Z in 8. The 8-part documentary series debuts on HBO Max this fall and takes an in-depth look at the iconic rapper's life and music. Miranda Lambert is cooking with Crisco. That's the name of her upcoming album, which now has a release date, October 2nd. The country star's 12-track set is inspired by everything from honky-tonk to disco. In Hollywood, I'm Douglas Hyde.
The U.S. president is threatening 100% tariffs on countries that impose taxes on major U.S. digital firms. BNN Bloomberg's Christine Lee has more.
U.S. President Donald Trump warning he will immediately slap a 100% tariff on all goods from any country that implements a digital services tax on American technology companies. Writing on Truth Social that these tariffs will supersede any existing trade agreements. The ultimatum primarily targets European nations, which have been discussing these levies. Earlier this year, Canada repealed its digital services tax to avoid an economic war. Here are the closing numbers for the day. West Texas Intermediate is down $3.42. Western Canadian Select increased $1.69 to $57.46. And the TSX ended the day in the green, up about 130 points to close the day at 34,980 points. Those are your business news headlines. I'm Christine Lee.
And here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold climbing $62.37, closing the day at $40.89.42 U.S. an ounce. Silver up $1.27. Copper up 6 cents. Nickel down a dime, ending at $7.46 U.S. a pound. And Tony's back now with one last look at the weather with a focus on Saturday.
Thanks very much, Marina. It's going to be a warm one. Let's take a look at your forecast, starting with Sudbury. 25 degrees. Normally this time of year it's 24, but add the humidity, it'll feel much warmer than that. 30% chance of showers. Also some rain in through Timmins, coming in at 28 degrees. For Sault Ste. Marie, sun, cloud, and shower activity. 30%. 26 degrees is going to be your daytime high. For North Bay, 26 degrees, sun, cloud, and a 30% chance of rain. Moving on to Parry Sound, much the same type of forecast. Look at that temperature, 26. Should be about 24 this time of year for Parry Sound. And finally, for Timiskaming shores. Sun, cloud, and rain. A chance of shower activity. Your daytime high, 27 degrees Celsius. Marina?
All right, Tony. Well, finally for us tonight, it's a special day for Canada's most iconic landmark. The CN Tower is 50 years old today. It officially opened on this day in 1976. At the time, it was the world's tallest self-supporting structure. Today, there was a 50th birthday party at the base of the structure. And at the end of the day, there will also be a light show to celebrate 5 decades at the top of Toronto's skyline. Happy birthday to you, CN Tower. And on that note, that's all the time we have here on CTV News at 6. Thank you for watching and have a fun and safe weekend as the kids kick off their summer vacation. Good night.